Magalumbe Island is an area off the coast of the Philippines. It's a small island, but it's known for diving and snorkeling and beautiful corals underneath the sea. I first came to the island in early 2000. I came there for pleasure with my friends as a weekend getaway. I fell in love with the island, the scenery, the beauty, and the simple lifestyle. I became attached to the fishermen and people who live on the island. Over the years, the people and their living condition is always on my mind. They became part of me. I wanted to tell the story of their condition and show you how they live in their lifestyle. Come join me and meet the island and the islanders. These kids grew up near the ocean. Their parents and grandparents fish and dive on a regular basis. While most little children begin to learn how to walk, these children are already diving in the ocean. They begin diving at an early age. It's their enjoyment, it's part of them. Instead of playing sports or reading books or playing with toys, these children's playground is the ocean. This is their life. Not only do they play in the ocean, they dive searching for food for their families. Any extra clams and shellfish they find, they try to sell it at the market. Diving and swimming in the ocean is part of their daily life. Their life is simple. There's poverty, there's hunger, but there's also happiness. You see, on this island there's a special person. He's like a brother to me. He stands out more than any other person I've ever met before. He's my inspiration when I want to complain about life. You see, my friend's name is Gumbo. I call him the independent fisherman. He was infected with polio when he was 2 years old. He crawls through the sharp rocks and corals on his hands and knees to get to his boat. He fishes alone in the deep waters to help provide food for his family. The story is told that Gumbo can swim around his island many times. He never had a chance to go to school before, but he's a master fisherman. He knows where the fish are in the ocean, and he knows how to catch the fish. When I think of the hardships in the life and the challenges we overcome in our daily life, I think of my friend. Gumbo takes a small boat going around the island, searching for clams and shellfish, for himself and for his family. Gumbo's normal daily life consists of fishing and diving in the ocean. Any extra, he tries to sell it at the market to buy rice. At sunset in the evening, before dark, Gumbo likes to go out and fish for squid, using a homemade lure to try to attract the squid. Gumbo's fishing lure, or squid lure, is made from cardboards and hooks. He spends many nights fishing out in the water by himself to catch squid for his family to eat. After 2 hours of hard fishing in the dark, Gumbo catches his first squid of the night. He continues to fish throughout the night. The island was established in the early 1960s by two sisters, Rhoda and Lilia. One sister lives on the north side of the island, and the other sister lives on the south side of the island. They're not the owners of the island, they're just there to help manage and oversee the island.
Si Lilia Banyares, nagkapuyo sa Magalongge. Kung ako namon di masyado ka buglay, kaya nagpuli kami din. Nag-start kami din mga 1962. Ang 13 kabilog ang akong bata.
Ako si Roda Intronal, nagapuyo ako sa sitio Magalongge. Ang akong pagpuyo dire mga 50 anyos na subong. 14 kabilog akong bata.
Rhoda and Lilia had many children on this island, and their children now are having children. There's literally hundreds of small children on this little island. Each of the children are related to each other. But they all have one thing in common. They all live in extreme poverty. The children have to walk through the island from one side to the other to meet up with each other. Many a days, these children are unable to have breakfast before they go to school. Each of the houses are made from bamboo from the island with dirt floors. It also has no running water, electricity, or bathrooms, or which they call CRs or comfort room in the Philippines. These are children of the fishermen. There are two primary groups of families that live on each side of the island. The older siblings try to walk with the younger children through the island forest as a group to look out for each other. This is a small island, but it has many children. Each group of children from both sides of the island try to meet up near the ocean shore to prepare for school. These are special children because they have many challenges in their life. You see, these children are unable to walk to school or given rides to school or take a school bus to school each day. The one-handed grandfather tries to take the younger children in a small banca boat, which is also very risky because there's no life protection for the smaller children.
Okay, then Earth, what you want to do?
The mainland, where the school is located, is about 1 mile off the shore of the island. On normal days, the children will take off their school uniforms and put them in plastic bags. They carry the plastic bags swimming through the ocean to go to school. On this particular day, the uniforms were carried on our film boat. The older children swim through the deep ocean on many days to go to school if there's no boat available. Although these children and families have very little, they are determined to go to school on the mainland. It's a long swim. It's deep water and the waves are big at times. Because of the big waves and the ocean condition, many of days the children are not able to go to school. They try to swim together as a group to help look out for each other. Instead of walking to school or taking a school bus like many people, they swim through the deep waters of the ocean to get to their school every day. Because their parents, the fishermen, need to fish longer and harder and fish further out in the ocean, many of days they don't have a boat to use. Would you swim through the deep water or the deep ocean to get to your school? They do it on a regular basis. Because of the poverty in their living condition, some of these children are unable to go to school. These children are determined to get their education. They realize the importance in their future is through their education. Remark, you're one of the swimmers. Why do you swim to school? Aren't you afraid of drowning? What happens when the weather's bad? When there's big waves, do you still swim to school? Their determination outweighs the difficulties and challenges of getting to school every day. Eden, one of the island swimmers, is in the first grade. Even though she has little at home and not much to eat, she's excited to be in school each day. She's determined to listen to her teachers and learn. The older boys, Joshua, Fritz, Michael, and Ken, are in the fourth grade. And they're just like other fourth grade boys. They have full of energy. But they're just like their fathers. They try to help each other as a group. Although they are having difficulties in school, they enjoy being in class with their friends. Joan and Quincy are both in the sixth grade. They're two of the older swimmers who swim to school. They dream of becoming a teacher or a nurse someday.
Computer. So tomorrow, just select only one.
Even though they may have many challenges at home, they seem to excel in the classroom. Roland is in the second grade. He's a master of diving for shells and clams, but is having difficulty passing the second grade. Leslie's in the fifth grade, and she comes from a very extremely poor family. But she seems an adult for her age. You're just a young child. Why do you swim to school? What's the reason you swim to school?
Ang iban gani katutong sa eskwela kayo para makatapos sila kung makabulig sila sa ilang pamilya. Kami gani basta wala kami may kinakaon, sige lang kami eskwela nga makatapos lang din na makabulig sa aming pamilya. Nag-eskwela kami, wala kami permit na sakyan. Ginalangoy lang namin, may ginalubong lang naman aming bag.
Many a days, because of the fishermen are still out fishing, the children have to swim home from school. On those particular days, sometimes they have to bury their books in the sand and swim home. I noticed that your child is one of the swimmers. Aren't you concerned about the child's safety?
Ang akon to isa ka ang siraol to amo lang to nakaupod sa ila da nga nag-combine bala sila sa driman sa mga pamilya yaman amo mga pakaisahan isa man ang nakon to ka bata ang siraol lang na siya amo na sa nagpaupod lang sa ila. Kay atong natabuan bala nga wala gid sila bala masugat. Kay waay gid sa to naglalakatanan ang mga tatay na sa lawod ti daw wala man bala way man kami mag-speak nga mga ginikanan nga abi namon may nagwan man may nagsugas sus igo kami gali magkwan niya nagkibot na lang kami nga ara na sila naglalangoy gali sila tanan yung pamilya na to nila ang ilang nga mga bagi panglubong nila to sa ano.
After viewing the children swim in the school, we decided to do more for them than just videotape their life. We want to help them create a school boat. We told the fishermen that we will provide them the necessary tools and supplies, and it's up to them to build the boat. You see, not only are the fishermen masters for diving and fishing in the ocean, they are masters at building boats. Come join us and help us watch the school boat being built and the daily life of the fishermen. See, the primary income on the island is catching shellfish, crab, and ocean fish. It seems as though the number one priority of each of the family members is putting food in the children's stomach. That is their daily challenge. Because of overfishing, it seems as though all they catch is small fish. They barely catch enough fish to feed their families. Rocky, how do you earn your income and how much do you make a day?
Kagisda kag panalom ang akong trabaho sa loob. Kung wala sa pangisda, panalom naman sa shells naman. Ano lang pananamon sa pagsalom kung makwartahan lang amo among ginakuha. Pero kalaban ng ilan namong makuha sa isa kadlaw, pila na ginanamong kataas mara 10 kilos, 15 kilos nakuha namon sa pangisda namon.
I know one of your kids has severe health problems. Is that more challenging for you as a fisherman?
Ko sa pagpanimakas na kon nakabuhi ako sa nabuhi ko tatlo ka bilog na akong bata. Kasi sa akong bata nga may sakit yung meningitis, natimakasan ko man nga nasarangan ko masarangan ng pabulong.
Rocky's 1-year-old son Jay developed meningitis at an early age. Rocky has to fish day and night to provide food and medicine for his children. Rocky's 3-year-old daughter Kimberly is the one that cares for her baby brother most of the time. The small island children don't have toys and books to read, but they play with shells and rocks. The children have each other to play with. The brothers together to catch more fish. They use basic materials as in nets and traps to catch crab. They use homemade flippers and spear guns to dive and catch their fish. Although they fish hard throughout the heat of the day, they catch very little fish. Gumbo has to fish on a daily basis. He has to continue to crawl through the corals to get to his boat. You see, if Gumbo doesn't dive for clams and shellfish, some days he doesn't eat. The hunger always overcomes the pain. Gumbo doesn't want to be dependent on his brothers and sisters for food. They have children of their own. He prefers to dive alone and be the independent fisherman. Although there's much beauty in the corals, Gumbo needs to search for food. Legend is told that Gumbo can stay underwater for 5 minutes. He can stay underwater more than the average person. Although Gumbo cannot walk, when he's in the water, he feels as though he's normal with everyone else. He uses his hands to dig through the corals, searching for clams and shellfish. Although he's exhausted, hungry, and severe knee pain, he continues to fish and dive throughout the day. Although Gumbo's extremely exhausted, he's proud of his catch for the day. He mainly caught clams and shellfish throughout the heat of the day. Occasionally, market day is on Friday, and Gumbo has to take his fish to market. The waves are big, but Gumbo is determined to get there. If he doesn't go to the market to sell his fish, he may starve. It takes him about 45 minutes to an hour in his little boat to get to the marketplace. He tells me he's so ashamed to go to the marketplace because people are staring at him. Sometimes people are even laughing at him. So he ignores the shame and the pain in his knees and takes his fish to market. Because Gumbo needs his hands to crawl, his nephew John Paul helps him carry the fish. John Paul is always by his side. Although the bucket and the fish are as big as John Paul realizes that Gumbo can't carry it all himself. Although many times he has to work hours and takes many risks in fishing and diving, some days he collects $2 a day. Life is not easy for Gumbo. On this day, he does not have enough money to buy rice for him and his nephew. Gumbo informed me that his knees are in severe pain on this particular day, crawling through the market. But he didn't want to complain to anyone, especially to his nephew John Paul. I was informed by the fishermen and the elders on the island that the waves are getting bigger and deeper, the water level's rising, and are taking up the shoreline. It's hard for them to provide a livelihood, support their families. Because of global warming, the islanders are concerned, the water is rising, and the island is getting smaller. Although Gumbo is unable to walk and has many hardships, he wants to help his brothers build a school boat for his nieces and nephews. The carpenters use simple materials to build a boat. It is made up of plywood, casco, and other local wood products. They use the simple tools like hammers, chisels, and saws to build the boat. There's no electrical tools used at all. While the men were out fishing and building the boat, we decided to teach the women and the mothers how to grow a community garden. We noticed and realized that the children lacked vegetables in their diet. We wanted the mom to help care for the garden, to provide food and a more nutritious and healthier diet for their children. Although he's not married, he has many nieces and nephews and brothers and sisters that live and surround him. He's loved by all. He's the inspiration of all of us. When I think about the hardships in our life and their life, we think of our friend Gumbo. He makes us realize our life is not as challenging as many, and each of us are blessed in our own way.
Nobody but you.
Gumbo continues and needs to fish on a daily basis. He gathers his fishing supplies for the day. He moves to another house closer to the ocean to make it easier for him to crawl to his boat. Although the boat is small and has a leak, Continue wants to use his boat because he feels as though it's a part of him. On this particular day, Gumbo goes out further in the water with his small boat. Although the waves are big and the currents were strong, the hunger overtakes the knee pain when he dives. There's a tremendous amount of beauty under the ocean floor, full of ocean life and corals. But Gumbo's main purpose is to search for food. Although he's completely exhausted, he continues to dive throughout the day for shells and crabs. He doesn't give up until he can provide enough food for him and his family. He has many techniques in fishing, from fishing with a line or a net, but his favorite form of fishing and the most lucrative for Gumbo is with a compressor tube in his mouth. The bottom of the ocean surrounding the island is full of sea life. Sea urchins, clams, crabs, of course live corals. Gumbo and his brother fish together. They know this part of the island and under the water like it's their second home. They dive deep in the ocean with the compressors and stay underwater longer. They search underneath the corals and the rock and the shells, looking for more shellfish to sell at the market. You see, he breathes through a tube attached to a compressor and dives sometimes 20 to 25 feet in the water, looking for shellfish and crabs. See, the compressor allows them to dive deep and stay long. One of the brothers has to stay up on the boat to maintain and watch over the compressor. He can stay underwater up to 25 to 30 minutes with a compressor tube. Although this is a very dangerous type of fishing, Gumbo's been doing it all of his life. His primary purpose is to catch as many fish and crab and shellfish in a day to earn income for himself and for his family. The income is used to buy rice. Compressor diving can be very risky for the brothers. If the compressor stops, each of them could drown before they get to the top of the water. Gumbo and Rocky continue to dive deeper in the ocean that day, using the compressor tube, searching for shells and clams to sell it at the market. The fishermen and divers inform me they have to take more risk now. Because of overfishing, there's less fish in the ocean. They have to fish longer hours, dive deeper, and take more risk to provide food for their families. They use a compressor to dive deep and get the most shells and clams. In the depths of the ocean, the island is like a second home for all of them. Because Gumbo has difficulty diving so deep, Gumbo's brother helps pull him down to the deepest part of the water to catch the most shellfish. Compared to most days, this has been a very successful day for the brothers in diving.
Dami tong pangkak.
Right now there's very little fish left in the ocean. Their main source of income is shellfish, which is clams, and crabs. Although they fish all day and late at night, they barely are able to catch enough food to buy rice for their family. Someday he's completely exhausted climbing in and out of his boat and from diving in the deep ocean looking for shellfish. But you never see Gumbo complain. He's determined. He wants to be treated like everyone else. Gumbo is known to being gentle with animals and children. So we decided to help Gumbo become a goat farmer. We bought him 4 female goats and 1 male goat. He raises them and breeds them near his bamboo hut. He's able to hand feed these goats. He could breed the goats and sell the baby goats in the market for income, and also use the goat milk to help feed his nieces and nephews. Although we wanted to minimize our involvement in the film, we decided to donate a computer and educational materials to the local school. We asked the teacher to help introduce the computer to the children. We wanted the island children to become familiar with the modern world. These children never seen a computer before. They don't even have electricity in their homes, but they have the desire and the eagerness to learn. The children were amazed and happy to learn something new. We bought educational material of simple Filipino songs and wanted to inspire the children to go to school each day.
Mouse.
natin siya mabuksan ang sa solution ng ating monitor, ginagamit natin ang mouse para hindi ko na din magamit sa keyboard. Okay, damo-damo na siya nga fish.
If a predator attacks, the fish congregate into a tight cluster. This rapid change in swimming pattern is visually confusing.
Nadaw mga isda man sila na damo.
Single fish.
Yeah.
Whales are mammals that spend their entire life in water. Some whales, such as the blue whale pictured here, are larger than a buck.
The building of the school boat became an island project. We asked the fishermen to work non-stop to get the boat built. We provided the basic materials and asked the fishermen to take the time and labor to build the school boat. We wanted the school boat to resemble the American school bus. We wanted the boat to stand out in the ocean. Everyone on the island wanted to get involved, even the small children. The fishermen used basic tools and techniques in the building of the boat.
Dito karon niya, kalit diri ka masunat school boat. Amang sa
Not only wanted the children to be safe going to school, but we wanted the children to take pride in their new school boat. We wanted to make the boat sturdy and safe, and we wanted to show the children that people do care about them. But more importantly, we wanted the children to be inspired to go to school. We decided to have a family fiesta celebrating the construction of the school boat. We invited both sides of the family on the island to join in the celebration. We set up a volleyball tournament for both sides of the family on each side of the island. Although Gumbo couldn't play, we asked for him to be the referee. Although the fishermen normally spend their day fishing, we wanted them to have an enjoyable day. We wanted them to have an enjoyable fiesta in the building of the boat. We provided music, refreshments, drinks, toys and food for all the families and children. We wanted to make it a day they would never forget. Some of these smaller children have never ate so much food before. I have no respect for Filipino people. They're family people. They may not have much to share, but they'll share it with you if they have it. The children wanted to participate in a dance contest for us. The fishermen and the children are excited to launch the school boat and see the school boat on the first day. The school boat was designed to carry 15 children to school each day. Some days it has to make 2 trips. It's designed not to use any kind of fossil fuel as in gasoline. We wanted to use the wind as power because the fishermen can afford it. We wanted to inspire the children to go to school each day.
Hindi na magtinto. Pungko kay.
So many children were excited to go to school. A few months later, it was harvest season. We were curious and anxious to return to check on the harvest, the islanders, and our good friend Gumbo. We noticed that the children seemed happier and healthier. Also, Gumbo planted his own small garden near his hut because it was easier for him to maintain. Gumbo was happy to inform me that the garden was successful, and he also has 2 new baby goats, with more on the way.
Yeah, like that. Yep. Go get him. Have John.
How big is this world? Are we really connected to each other? The oneness of each other? We may go to different churches, we may speak different languages, have different nationalities, but we all belong to each other in the human race. This is our world. It's Earth. We all live on the same planet. How important is the ocean to each of us? For the islanders and our friend Gumbo, it's everything. I believe the ocean is our Earth's lifeblood. It's a means of providing food for their families and children. For the children that swim to school each day, the main reason is for hope. Hope outweighs the risk. Hoping to make it to the other side without drowning. Hoping to get an education one day to provide food for their families. That's their hope and dream. That's what drives each of the children to go to school through the ocean each day.
Upang bawat sandali ay